We're rolling. Mike Yates.
How we doing, gentlemen?
Mike, welcome to Shit My Dad Taught Me.
Welcome, brother.
Welcome.
I have to say, this is gonna have some serious legs. This is pretty cool.
We're kind of excited about it.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys.
It's for everybody. It's everybody welcome. Everybody welcome to contribute. And the idea is pretty simple, and it's in the name. Just, shit my dad taught me. Things that, men in your life would have taught, things that you as a dad like to teach, and that's it. And so we're going to open the floor and just kind of
here's what my dad taught me.
Yeah.
Hey,
cheers,
now.
boys.
Let's start with a cheers. What do we have in
practice?
boys? Cheers.
A little Woodford bourbon.
Hopefully sponsored by One Day. Just putting that out there into the universe.
Yep.
My dad would put that in his waders, keep us warm when we're fishing.
Oh, hey now. Jump right into it, dude. Tell us about your dad. What's his name? What does he do?
Stud of a dude, same name as myself. I actually broke the third Michael Yates by naming my son Everett. But my dad is fantastic. Thankfully, he's getting older, but still fish. Still get our quality time in when we're fishing. On our way to hockey games was pretty special because it's funny too when you're a dad, you realize the sweet spots, and it's not necessarily the hockey game. It's the time on the way home from the hockey game, and the conversation is just about life. And I think that was probably my most memorable moments with my dad between hockey and fishing and trips to the cottage. So alone time.
Those groggy morning drives to the rink with your dad, and stop by Tim Hortons drive-through, grab something to eat, and you're just like barely awake.
Absolutely. And the best part is he did all the work. Now I have to do all the work. Now I get it. I get it so much. I call him so many times, and I'm like, I get it. I get it. I was just like.
And you worked full time when you were doing this?
Yes. And you were stressed. That's a thing. It's pretty cool.
That's the best, man. Yeah, it is those downtime moments too, eh?
Yeah.
I was talking the other day and just said it's the things that aren't intentional, and it's those moments that kind of, and you never know what a kid's going to remember. Like you might do something because you think it's monumental, and you think it's something where you're like, man, I'm going to be the best dad. I'm going to do all these things, that they end up like forgetting about it, or the stories in the airport before you go or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I remember I grew up and had magical moments with my dad playing hockey. So when I took Everett skating for the first time, he didn't like it. It was cold. He didn't like the skates. He didn't like being trapped. And I remember my wife's behind me, and I'm like, Everett, you're ruining this for me. My wife's like, it's not about him. It's not about you. It's about him. I'm like, oh yeah. And it's crazy. And to your point, it's the times that you maybe not a planned that were the most specialist. Then
for sure.
Specialist, that's not a word. You want to edit that one?
No, we're going to use it.
Yeah, you should.
We're going to use it.
My dad didn't teach me that one either.
Yeah, that's and fun fact too, because we're going to talk about Mike a bunch today. But one of my all-time moments was the first time I saw you skate. So I'll proudly tell everybody that I certainly consider myself athletic, or maybe there was an athlete in there at one point, but skating was never it. Never grew up with it.
I feel you on that one.
Yeah.
That's why I had to leave Thunder Bay. I just didn't fit in properly. I had the hands, I had no feet.
It's like golf though. You need to get it at a young age, or you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
So I had a moment where we went to a public skate, and I was out there giving it my all, but not pretty. And Yates comes out, and he just looks like he was meant to be there, and like cutting it up, and it was effortless and whatever. And I remember my daughter looking at me, and she's like, do you think I could go skating with Uncle Mike? And I'm like, oh, okay, Daddy will be on the bench. Like, yeah.
What you don't know is that my back was so sore.
Yeah.
I said yes, and I was in anguish and pain, but yes, I'm in. My feet were cold.
So was his ego.
Yeah, that's right.
He went and grabbed hot chocolate from
Well,
both of you.
he got me back. We were in his pool once, and I tried to dunk on him, and it didn't work out so well. So
this is my house. Yeah, that's the fun stuff, man. And so back to your dad. So he lives up north, right? Like
he's in Wasaga Beach.
He's in Wasaga now. Yeah. What's he doing up there? Is he still working?
He's working a little bit just to keep busy. Still likes to fish and work with his hands, which is also something I learned from him as well. So I think he's just enjoying retirement. He did a big addition out the back where he gets to watch the birds. I'm like, you like birds?
I'm looking forward to that part of my life. I'm not going to lie.
I'm not in. I just didn't know about it. It's new. So I think he's extremely happy. The Wasaga Beach was our cottage growing up, and that was always special to him. So the fact he can make it home makes him extremely happy. And I just I get to go visit him at my cottage, which is even better. So
What did he do before? What did he do for a living?
so he was always a general manager. So he always, funny enough, had a construction background, but never actually was in construction. Just a very handy guy that was able to do construction. So I learned a lot from him, and we did a lot of stuff around the house and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
And then he was very entrepreneurial. So I think I took his entrepreneurial side and I took his handyman side, and I was able to make a business out of it. So yeah.
Yeah, we should do that too. I had one of the things that we've started doing before we welcome our friends here is doing a chat GPT search.
Oh,
so
great.
you know, we're here with the technology time. So you can actually, I'm sure everybody on here knows what chat GPT is, but language model, you can go in, you can query it, you can whatever. And it's really fun how accurate it can be sometimes.
Okay.
And it pulls up the thing. So, you know, a lot of podcasts, they'll introduce their guests. So we're kind of making this a thing, but I'll
First
read.
thing was the prison photo.
Yeah. I'll read you yours. Yeah.
Just one?
So it says Mike Yates, with an extensive criminal background. I can't even read it. He is in construction. He's most well known for the fact that he may not have the biggest hammer, but he swings it hard.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really good for ChatGPT
Yeah,
to know
absolutely.
that about you.
Thank you, ChatGPT.
So it says, Mike Yates is president of Sunrise Construction, a family-owned and operated company based in Burlington, Ontario, with over 20 years' experience in the construction industry. Currently, Sunrise is a general contractor specializing in both commercial and residential projects, offering services such as roofing, renovations, and all types of GC. I know you serve the GTA, but then you also have built cottages. You've built beautiful homes up in Muskoka, and I'm sure all around. So tell me about Sunrise Construction.
Yeah, absolutely. Sunrise Construction started out as a side job in college. Funny enough, I didn't make it through college. The business kind of took off. I started on the tools, then selling, and then, oh my goodness, there's accounting to do and other business related things. So we quickly grew, hired some friends, which was nice. We had the opportunity to hire friends and grow something with them. But yeah, it's been an absolute blessing and a curse, I'll say, because I didn't have that background of running a business. I went to school, I paid for it, just not.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. So, but all said and done, though, it's been an absolute blast. I've had an opportunity to get into real estate, so I can bring construction alongside of that, and some other businesses, like some building materials that we're selling as well. So, being an entrepreneur, it gave me an opportunity to open many doors, pillars, as you call it, which is pretty cool. And I just enjoy what I do, and I enjoy trying to make people happy and seeing their faces, and then taking that creative side. And it's almost like artwork in a way, like, to stand back and be like, I built that, or I was a part of building that, or something like that. So, I'd say just a pleasurable experience, and I enjoy what I do, and I'm passionate about what I do. And I was able to implement it into different businesses, which, I found extremely invigorating.
What was your initial goal when you started doing the construction with Sunrise?
Honestly, pay the bills. Like,
yeah.
I was going to school for advertising and sales.
Did you ever think you'd get this big, or have as many employees as you guys had?
No, it was a hold
properties?
on. It was a thank you. No, it was hold on to the seat of my, like, oh my God, I got to get back to this person. I have to get back to this person. I'm asking my wife I'm not very good with emails. Can you return emails? And then it just kind of grew into understanding operations and business. And yeah, no, it's really cool because it wasn't a set path. It didn't even have goals. I'm embarrassed to say, it was more hold on to the seat of my pants, and then I had an opportunity to kind of take off the tool belt and kind of learn. But I must say I admire what you guys do. You guys are very entrepreneur as well, so that's why I was excited to take this seat today, the hot seat.
Everything's a learning experience, man. Everything. Yeah. We all learn from each other. That's for sure.
And both you guys kind of have multiple businesses on the go that kind of marry each other too, which is super exciting.
Yeah, and some that have literally nothing to do with others too.
Yeah. Well, they're called sandboxes. Yeah, they're so much fun.
We love playing in the sandbox.
You're right.
What's one of the things you said, and I'll just ask you about it because I think it's just the coolest. So SmartWall Systems. So this is a new division or a new company you're starting. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So thanks. This is an easy one. So part of our challenge in construction wasn't finding the customers or finding the business. It was literally finding the employees to, run parallels with you and make the client happy and, meet your deadlines and the communication, like you're only as good as the people you hired. So this particular product, I kind of foresee it as an opportunity to get ahead of some of that. So it takes 3 to 4 trades in one application. It's a structural insulated panel. It goes up like adult Lego, for lack of a better word. And with the way construction is going and the housing crisis that we have, it is, I think, the perfect fit. It's very innovative. It's very environmentally friendly. It's carbon negative, so it's actually the opposite of the construction industry, like being one of the bigger polluters. It's taking the pollution out of it. So it's nice to have that, like much like what you guys do in your charity and stuff like that. It's nice to have something that you believe in, something that works, and something that you could see being very successful.
So the prefab, pre-made walls that kind of just like get put together, kind of like the stuff that like a lot of the places in like Florida, Texas, and then like a lot of Europe is doing, but in Canada, because of weather, like nobody's really figured it out.
The best part is it's taking off in
you figure it out.
Florida. Yeah, I think so too. And a bunch of buddies can get together in a weekend and literally put together a house. That's that easy.
Right.
And the construction world needs it. Lack of trades, lack of people that want to be in the trades. It's a super exciting product.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. We'll have Miles. I'll throw a link in the description for anybody listening if they want to learn more about that. Yeah,
thought we were talking about dads.
We know people. Yeah. So back to talking about dads. So tell me about your family. What you got in your
That's
own
the easy
house?
part of life. So work is work. It's up and down, and you win some, you lose some. Family is awesome. You go home and that kiddo runs to you and gives you a big hug. Mine are 8 and 5, so we're still at that stage. And I'm cherishing it because I can already see the 8-year-old's getting a little older. So some days he takes off. He's like, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
I'm like, buddy, where'd this come from? But yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's been an absolute joy. I take as much time as I can to listen to them. And every day is a learning experience for sure. Like we had mentioned, here I thought skating with my son for the first time ever would be his favorite thing. It was not. Our times, on a simple walk to a store to get Pokemon cards, it seems to be the funnest thing. So I would say that's the best part of my life at this point in time. There's always joy there. Yeah. Even seeing my wife, do her thing. She's big on Halloween, big on Christmas. Every time I fight her, I'm like, oh babe, I'm too tired. I gotta put the decorations up. Halloween comes and I see some kid walk away and they're like, this is the scariest house on the block. And I'm like, that's right. And my son and my daughter, are part of that and they see it. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm with you. Right. I get it now. So yeah, that's
the shit that matters. Man.
Yes.
Yeah, it matters.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was always a huge Halloween guy and my wife wasn't, but my wife was a huge Christmas person.
Okay.
I never really felt it. I was like, all right, like I believe in like going and chopping down a tree with the kids and the family and decorating and that, but like we never really did much other than lights on the outside.
Yeah.
And then like 4 or 5 years ago, she like started pushing it more and like now the kids, like they're just equally as excited as they were for Halloween. Now it's like Christmas is like, we want to have a cool setup. Yeah. So like 3 years ago, we ended up buying like the 16-foot snowmen for everybody on our court. So we bought like 12 of them. Because like there was another court like Hadfield that had all the Santa Clauses, and everybody was like posting about it. So the kids were like, "Oh, like why don't we do that on our court?" I'm like, "All right, fine. No, Amazon it up, drop them off on everybody's house." But like the kids absolutely love it, and like even this year, the first 2 houses that put it up, they're like, "When are we gonna do this? We need everybody to do this." Like
it's a race.
They live and breathe that shit. It's awesome.
And honestly, that's where I get my excitement. That is, I get my energy, I get my excitement, I get my will and passion to work. And honestly, it starts at home base for sure. That's a really good one though. I might have to take a page out of your book.
So fun. Yeah, that's it's cool when the street can come together like that too, eh? Like it's always like, especially we see it all the time in the Burlington Dads group, which Burlington Dads plug. If you don't know it, check it out, burlingtondads.com. With that, it's all about the like, what's a good idea, and then it radiates out, right?
Yeah.
Like we're thinking already ahead of Christmas coming up this year. Like we're trying to get some very capable people together to do some very cool things at Christmas. And actually, Jamie, did you see the toy drive that we just pulled off?
I follow you guys on Facebook. Absolutely, yeah.
It's
fantastic,
pretty
magical.
Crazy. Yeah, tell me about the toy drive quick, Kozub, if anybody didn't see it.
Yeah, it was amazing. This year, we always try and raise funds and collect toys for the Salvation Army, and whatever funds we collect, we take to Toys R Us, and they really support us well. They Toys R Us Canada gives us a heavy discount. They set up a ton of cool stuff and a whole bunch of discounted stuff, and we bring a bunch of families, any families or companies that donate $1,000 to our toy drive. We allow them to come to this shopping spree with us,
That's
and they
awesome.
get to experience it, because there's nothing better than those kids getting, we're talking about moments that they're going to remember. They get to go fill a shopping cart with $800 or $1,000 worth of stuff for other kids their age. And like just seeing them go through that process. And then the next year when they know that like, hey, it's getting near the middle of November, like, hey, like, are we going to be doing this again? We want to go do that. So we had 35 families this year that showed up at Toys R Us to do that shopping spree. And like 3 different news organizations ended up finding out about it. We raised $58,000 and we ended up buying about 7,000 toys that we dropped off. And normally we drop all these toys off to the Salvation Army Church, because that's where, the families that sign up, they go there and they do their kind of like little shop to choose for their family. We had to take it to their mainway warehouse this year, to their distribution center, because there was way too many toys for them to handle all at once.
That's awesome.
But believe it or not, like they had 600 families that signed up for needing the support, and they didn't even have enough toys to support half those families. So by the time we were done doing the drop off, they had more than enough for that and a little bit for the year after. But the support we got from Toys R Us Canada, Sunrise Records, HMV, like it was insane, because they gave us enough of a discount that like our $58,000 ended up being like $75,000 worth of toys and gift cards. So their support this year was phenomenal, alongside all the local support that we got from families and stuff in Burlington. So, next year bring the kids and bring the family out, because that is one of those moments that like they just won't forget. And doing the sorting, like we take all the families to the Salvation Army and help with the whole sorting process. It's an experience, man. It brings tears to your eyes. It's pretty powerful.
What you guys do is absolutely magical.
It's everybody, and it's you too, man. I know you and Michelle have done such a great job with the food bank. I've seen your food drives that you do. Tell me a little bit about how you guys raise all that food and who you give it to.
I mean, that's Michelle, that's my wife that does all of it. But long story short, she's able to put some flyers out, follow up with some people, and we're able to raise some food. We actually get a lot dropped off right at our shop, so it's all the local support right around our office and shop. And funny enough, we used to our first house together. We lived on it's Wickens Avenue, but it backed onto our shop, so we had a good rapport with all of our neighbors. It was a very family friendly neighborhood, so they're probably half of our support, to be honest with you. But it's awesome. I really enjoy what you guys do. The entrepreneur in me says that maybe we have to get some sort of like game show, like supermarket sweepstakes going or something like that, so we can bring some TV crews and some more sponsors in, and each kid has to find the magic bear with the sing along or something.
Even next year, like Toys R Us Canada, like they've been a huge supporter, and this year they were like, hey, like you guys have really taken this to a next level. Like last year we raised $27,000. This year we did 58, and like that number's only going to continue to grow. I have no idea what we'll hit next year, but from now on, they're going to close. They're going to have us come after hours and really try and make it like a whole event.
Yes.
So like, we could do some cool stuff.
I think that could.
And the sponsors we've been able to bring on since we've newly become a not-for-profit. With 6,400 dads and becoming a not-for-profit, it's really given us that powerful exposure that we're always kind of like trying to fly under the radar, and none of us were really trying to be the face of anything.
Shout out to you. Off air, we were talking about the amount of hours that you put into it. So I think we should mention that. I know it's not my show to be shouting out or sponsoring, but kudos to you guys and how many hours you guys put into that.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Honestly, it's all about giving back, and like no different than what you guys are doing with the food drive stuff. And like you guys are bringing it, like you're putting it pretty mildly about how much food you guys bring in for the food bank. Like it's a lot.
You guys
of food.
are sweet. We Sunrise Records and Toys R Us aren't calling us, but thank you. I appreciate that.
They did call us,
actually.
But
was going to call me back.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Shout out to Toys R Us, though, man.
Shout out to those guys.
Who's the gentleman that was helping us the most there this year?
Doug Putnam. Doug Putman.
Unbelievable. I know he's a super accomplished guy and doesn't need our shout out, but I'll tell you that was a heck of a day, man. And seeing the actual families, shout out to Doug.
Yeah, he was an amazing sport.
Yeah, so cool. I have a couple questions for you.
I'm in.
Want to do some rapid fire?
I don't know. I'll tell you after.
Yeah. First question, and this is one that I think we're gonna ask everybody the same questions, right? I don't want to make it formal and scripted and whatever.
The
but
2 or 3 fire offs.
Yeah. So okay. So first question, I'll put you on the spot here.
Well, hold on. Just to be clear, if I'm the first guy here, people can have time to think about this. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm the first of the first. This is ice breaking. Okay,
That'll be your.
just
That'll
want
be
everybody to
People
know
that
this.
overthink it, we're gonna send them for a spin though.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay,
flip
make
the
sure you do.
script. We're
Make
gonna
sure you
flip the
do.
script on them.
do it in Spanish or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Mike, say the alphabet backwards. Go ahead.
Not a chance.
So, could you tell us a dad joke?
I can. I think you're gonna need it on video if I'm gonna tell it.
Oh, why? You got the cameras are rolling.
Yeah, all
Let's
right,
see it.
all right.
You're gonna have to describe it though
So
for the
my
listeners.
son is in trouble, but we're joking. I'm like, bro. He's like, yeah. I'm like, you want the python or the cobra? And he's like, the python? Because he thinks it's less. So the cobra's got the.
He didn't know who
stab.
Santino Marino was.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So for anybody who's just listening, not watching, Mike has the smallest biceps at the table.
That's fair.
He just flexed them.
Yeah. It was his arm he lifted, not his
The
belt.
cobra is the yeah. That's right. For those of you listening, Mike just took his pants off.
All right. So the moral of the story is the python strangles the cobra.
Which one
strikes.
was the cobra? Which one was the python?
He's continues to
And
position
be clear,
his
I was
member.
the first one on, so top that.
CAS will be at Mike's house
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Hey, Mike, we saw.
It's just a bite. It's
we
a
saw
love
your
bite. It's a
episode.
love bite. No bruises.
Going back to your dad. I'm putting you on the spot again. Best advice, or if there's one thing that you can remember your dad saying that's always stuck with you.
So this is a good one. I don't know if it'll apply the way it applied to me, but it's use your brains, not your muscles. And I was always one to quickly move in, throw it around.
Give the cobra or the python.
You got it. And I guess what he was saying is that more from a business standpoint, like I was always quick to do the job, maybe not think about the outcome. And I think he thought, and I'm athletic or whatever, but the point is, like, I think he was giving me a compliment that I didn't give myself. And you've got some brains, take some time, think about it, make a plan, don't just use your muscles. You're more than just a brute. And the fact that he was able to kind of say it in such little amount of words and have it be so meaningful, it's pretty special. I think, anyways, because some people it might not resonate, but if you know who I am and kind of how I live my life, and I think he nailed it pretty good. So
No
I
doubt.
guess he knows me. I don't know.
It's funny how dads know their sons.
And like
eh?
even taking the muscle side out of it, right? Like even in like the analogy that he's giving you is like, sometimes you don't always just gotta run and push hard. Sometimes like just hold back and like process it a little bit. And like that's the whole thing that him and I have with the couple of things that we have going on. Cause like Chris wants to go. Like he's passionate about stuff and he wants to get fired up. And I'm like, man, let's focus on this funnel first before we chase this funnel, right? But like that's what works, and that's what makes people push. And him giving that advice to you is like it's huge.
And I love that you guys have that dynamic, because it's actually words of wisdom from this guy. He I forget who it was, and you can probably tell me who it was. But long story short, it's one thing to do it alone; it's another thing to do it with a team or a family or friend or whatever, right? And it's more special, right? So
for sure,
it's cool that you have that dynamic. That's really cool.
Yeah, the one I always play back is if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with a team. And that applies to
for sure. Yeah,
and that was me using the muscle, not the brains. I wasn't listening.
Yeah. He's that's what it is, man.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people get afraid that like they're afraid to hire somebody or partner with somebody smarter than them, right? Because like they feel like they need to be the smartest guy in the room. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
The smartest guy in the room or the best at everything they do. And the best thing a business owner or a partner could do is bring on or partner with somebody smarter than them at what they're not good at, right?
Or you nailed it. And I love that you said that, because let's just go a different direction, because we could have an entrepreneur chat. And I appreciate what you've done, all the business. You were telling me about business today. I'm like, which one of your 13 businesses are you talking about? But that's a compliment. But yeah, no, it's putting your ego at the door and, understanding that listening goes a long way.
For sure. And trusting people.
And that I trust and love. That's probably both the strength and a weakness, but a round peg, square hole scenario.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm okay with it. Even if it came with failure, I that's who I want to be.
It bites you once in a while, but when it bites you, all of the other good that it's done for others and for what you're seeing, it way outweighs it.
Yeah. And you know what? That's that is success, right?
Yeah.
That is success. So
For sure.
back to the whole team mentality. And anyways.
Yeah. And I think as we get older too, as we get a little more gray hair, I look at it differently, right? Like young me would have thought I could do anything. That's just not feasible. You know, even some of the most accomplished people I know, and, you know, we got some good authors on the table here who have built empires. They still don't do everything perfectly.
No.
That's unrealistic. So the idea is self-develop to a point where you're as good as you think you're going to ever get at the things you think you should be good at or that we're naturally good at, and then find those blind spots. Like find the, you know, if running numbers, looking at finances, if that's not you, then pay somebody or find somebody, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
And that's anytime I've built a team, that's always it. I mean, I could rhyme off a list of people that I would say are so much better than me at things. And I've been fortunate enough to have them on my team. You know, either work for me or with me or whatever. But
that's talent itself, is finding those people too.
For sure.
So that's a lot of work to find those people too, a lot of the time.
And sometimes it just falls on your lap.
Isn't
or like,
it nice?
you know, comes across the table.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just a matter of like, is it the right time for that opportunity? And can you take it by the horns?
It's like-minded people. It's good energy. It's just good quality people. Same mentality, same mindset.
For sure.
Yeah. It's fun. That's what I enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then going back to the question too about like, what's the thing that stood out or that your dad said, or you remember most about what your dad taught you? So now you're a dad. Like, what's the thing where if Evie's sitting down with us in a few years, you go, man, I hope Evie knows X. Like, I hope he's watched me do X, or I've tried to teach him X.
Good.
Like, what's the thing?
Great question. So, I wouldn't say it's a battle. I'd say it's a learning experience. So I think I always looked at my dad as he was a hero. That was a given. Couldn't do anything wrong. I feel like my son's like, Dad, do you want me to help you read that? Like the opposite. And he likes some things that, so he plays hockey, which is cool. And I don't necessarily need him to play hockey, but I don't think that's his jam. He loves to read. He's brilliant. He is so smart. He's so funny. It's funny. My wife says him and I are the same person. That's why we clash. I'm like, no, I think he's the opposite of me. And anyways, to your point, obviously I want him to know that I love him, but I want him to know that I'm trying to figure out how we can have the best relationship. And I think we are having the best relationship. I think we're getting there. Every day, I'm trying to figure it out. And every day we're getting closer and closer. And at the other day, it's whatever he wants to do, I want to support it, and I want to get better as a dad to kind of like coach him on that and just understanding what that is. I mean, he's 8 years old, so figuring out what exactly that is what I'm doing now. Moral of the story is, you're a brilliant kid. Your heart is so big. Like how do we put you in a position where you're just your best self? And that's me as a dad. I think that's my challenge, is to understand how I can make sure that if some kid at school tells him, like he's a handsome dude, and he'll wear a sports jacket and a tie to school, and I'm like, buddy, good for you. And if somebody says don't wear it, wear a louder tie.
At 8 years old, he's got some gonads.
Yes. Like, wear a louder tie. I didn't wear that. I'm dropping him off at school in track pants. So like, I love you, man. Like, that's incredible. So
statement maker.
Yeah. And go with it and run with it. And so I think I might have missed the question here, but I want to understand.
You want him to be him.
Yeah, I want him to be him, and I want to be the best successful version of himself, for sure.
Yeah, and be proud of who he is.
Yes. And maybe I'm learning. I mean, like I said, my wife says we're the same people. I think he's the opposite. So I think I'm like I'm watching Harry Potter now to understand what Harry Potter is. And I'm sorry for the fans out there. I don't like Harry Potter at all. Like, I'm not a Harry Potter guy.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Okay, thank you. So now I'm watching it because I want to like be able to You're a Harry Potter guy, aren't you?
Well, because I have to be, because my girls are.
See, okay, so what we're saying. So
what about your daughter? Talk about the
so
boy,
her and I think drive more.
Yeah?
Yeah, she's a bruiser.
She's 5?
She's 5. Yeah, she's a bruiser. She wants to, and again, I really don't care that much about hockey. It keeps coming out because that's the bond I have with my dad. But she wants to play hockey. She wants to be the bruiser. I feel like I have a little bit more in common, and she's more sentimental. Like, oh, daddy's home, gives me hugs, right? So I just feel like, okay,
Is she a
I'm
daddy's
winning
girl
today.
or is she a
She's
mommy's
a
girl?
dad. Well, mom's pretty awesome, so I'll take second place for both kids, but I feel like I got a little bit more attention from her.
Yeah.
But both kids in their own way they'll give me that little piece that I need, and it just makes my day. So
That's awesome.
but mom's pretty awesome. That's a hard second. But no, it's just both kids have two different personalities, even though they get along great, which is crazy. And it's just understanding and adapting to me feeling like I could be the best dad for them.
That's awesome.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just talked for 10 minutes and I don't even know what the question was. So I hope we nailed it.
It's great, man. No, there's no rules, dude. Your glass is full and
The bottle's empty?
chatting.
Yeah,
So
maybe
Glass is
that's the
full,
problem,
bottle's
yeah.
empty.
no rules at all. Yeah.
My dad taught me that one too.
Yeah. Keep the glass full.
Yeah. At 19 though, never younger.
No,
my
never.
gosh.
How could it be?
That's a whole nother episode.
Yeah. How could it be?
I've got a little bit of a different background.
I'm excited to hear it. Let's put you on the hot seat.
We'll do that. Episode 20. I'll be episode 20.
Yeah, he's warming up. He's warming up. You got to show him how to do it.
I love it.
One of the other things that keeps coming out, and it's because of all of our work, you included, with Burlington Dads, and we're just trying to make sure that we're being supportive, and we're trying to make sure that we are out here, being positive and talking about realities, and because somebody's listening, right? So the question I have for you is, when it comes to mental health, has there been anything that that you deal with or have dealt with, and any tips or tricks that you have that help you deal with?
Yeah. So great question. I've been pretty healthy my entire life. Not sure if this is allowed on air, so we can edit it. But had a gummy experience one day, and it like was a whirlwind of anxiety.
And
So
when you say gummy, you're talking about weed.
it was weed gummy.
They
Weed gummy,
gave
yeah.
you anxiety?
Oh, big
Yeah.
time, yeah. So when it first hit me, and actually got to the point where I had to go to the doctor and get I think my serotonin levels were down. Like it was a pretty big panic attack or whatever it was. Mind you, I had a lot of things in life. So my wife was like, "Oh, you take on so much," which is like my comfort level. I love it, right? And that's why I'm like, well, no, I feel pretty comfortable in that. She's like, no, it was inevitable. Like so it can be taken both ways. I'm not the doctor. I think I enjoy having a lot on the go. Either way, the point is I had to like find myself and an understanding of it. I have a buddy who's kind of going through it right now. I'm trying to coach him through it. Thankfully, my story has a little bit of a happy ending. I really focused on myself, which I think made me actually a better person at the end of the day, which is wild. Which is maybe a better parent, better entrepreneur. It really put me in a position where I had to find me. There was no sugarcoating it. There was no, telling myself lies. I felt the way I felt it, and I had to basically, for the most part, walk it off. I had some medication that was supposed to be 6 months to get the serotonin levels up, but after that, I still battled it. And I still battle it to this day, but I'm able to understand. And again, I'm no doctor, so I want to be very clear. Like to me, I when you have a headache, but you don't panic over a headache. So if I have an anxiety, I still have it. It sucks, but I choose not to panic over it. And I'm able to kind of talk myself out of it and focus and put my head down. So to answer your question, I did. I thought I almost didn't take mental health seriously until I was in the midst of it, and literally thought I was going to put myself in a padded room. Since then, I think it's extremely important to be healthy. It's extremely important to not be a typical fucking dude, excuse my language, and not talk to anybody. Like you gotta let people know how you feel, because when you let people know how you feel, they let you know how you feel, and all of a sudden you're not, different than other people. And focusing on yourself, that whole scenario where you put your oxygen mask on first, and so you can help other people. It's real. It's true.
For sure.
So,
did you just do this like in your inner circle, or did you go talk to a therapist, or like how did you talk your way through it?
Great
and like,
question.
Kind of work your way through it.
Great question. So I definitely went to a doctor who prescribed me medicine that didn't work, and then called her like on the hotline, like, "Hey, this is not working." So she upped it. So that would have been my doctor experience. And here, truthfully, looking back, if I had known what I was going through, so if I had the education ahead of time, I would have went and talked to somebody. I was lucky enough to kind of find my own way, but in hindsight, I was very lucky because I could have talked myself instead of off the cliff. I could have talked myself, off the cliff, right? Off the cliff, whatever the point.
And a lot of times the
Down
medication
from.
just
Yeah.
it numbs you. It doesn't allow you to deal with
Yeah.
it. It just allows you to not have to deal with it.
Yes.
In a sense, right?
Yeah. And I think like if I didn't have a wonderful, like when you have kids, a loving wife and stuff like that, like you can go home and at the end of the day, like you won the day. Simple as that. So I mean, if you're able to recognize that, then the rest will eventually come. And it did. I wish I had a help system where I could have went and got that the next day because it took a lot of figuring out myself. My sister I talked to a lot, which was nice. But other than that, the truth is today, I get bouts of it from time to time. I call it anxiety now. I've actually stopped drinking. I did hard 75 many times, which I absolutely love. I'm my best person when I do it. But I think I've, for the most part, overcome it. I wouldn't say I've by any means in the world. I'm no doctor. I haven't figured out the solution to it, but I think I found my own way.
You know how to control it.
Yes.
You can contain it and deal with it.
Yes. Yeah. And it sucks. It's so do headaches. The headaches suck, right? Like you still have it, but you can plan your day around it if that makes sense.
I get anxiety attacks, but I've got to like breathe my way through it. And my wife will be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm dealing with stuff. Like, you're mentally like just going through a bunch of stuff and like suddenly it'll just hit out of nowhere and people don't get it. They don't understand like, oh, my kid has anxiety or I have anxiety. And like, and other people look at it and they bash it and they don't understand it. And it's like, it's a real thing.
It is.
And
so
everybody deals with it in a different way. And like, for me, it's just like, it's like heavy breathing for like 3-4 minutes. Just like, I just gotta like, I got to center myself and get through it. And that's what you've.
So I was a big walker. I had to walk. I would walk for a half hour.
Yeah.
And eventually I'd be able to like get on the other side of the hill.
Yeah.
But I'm going to guess that everyone has to have their own way of dealing with it. So good for you on that one to like figure out what it is.
And talking to people like,
yes,
I only went to like a therapist like 4 or 5 times, but finding like a close inner circle of like 2 or 3 buddies that you can really go to and express those things. Like,
can I be on your My Five?
What's that?
Can I be on your My Five?
Yeah, for sure.
Done.
And it's weird, right? Because like you look at your like close circle of your best buddies and you're like, oh fuck, I can't go to that guy and like tell him this stuff. So like it is weird finding out who that person or those people are going to be, but like it's life changing because for that person, you're also that exact same person. Because if you feel like they're the person that you need, they're also needing that same kind of thing reciprocated to them, and it goes a long way.
I know, man. It's special.
Yeah,
it's and I'll tell you this much. Again, I'm a doctor, but fucking embrace it.
Yeah,
embrace it. You're talking to 2 guys, 3 guys that deal with it, that have an okay life.
Yeah,
it's part of life. It's not you as a person. It's just something you need to learn, and when you learn and when you master it, you're gonna be a better person.
And when you know that buddy's going through something, and you give him a bro hug, like you feel it in that bro hug.
Yes, you do.
Like
man.
it's a different level of a bro
and
hug.
To feel that is special.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
You just feel them go.
Have that connection. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be nothing. If you take everything in life as a negative, it'll be a negative. If you take it as a positive or a learning lesson or a step,
we need it on the wall. It's okay not to be okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, and again, I love what you guys do with your
capillary wave.
Thank you.
Men's mental health.
Oh yeah, we can talk about that. We actually, Nelson is coming on the podcast on Thursday, so he'll be
awesome.
2 or 3 episodes down the road. But that
if I
one's
could
been a
have
big
walked
success,
into
man.
that and talked to some like-minded people, it would have been a different journey for sure.
As soon as he started up the idea, like I'm on the board of directors for that charity. As soon as he started up the idea, I was like, man, you have a real uphill. Because before he even started it, he came to me and he was like, hey, here's my thought. Like, I'm thinking about doing this. And I'm like, you have a real uphill battle. Like, this is going to be, it's hard to get support to fund something like that because men's mental health isn't something that publicly people want to support, which is absolutely crazy.
I think it's needed more than
And kudos to Nelson because he put in a hard 6 months of really pushing it and getting it off the ground. And as soon as he did, the Burlington Dads as a group, we got behind it and helped fund them to give him the space, which is here in the building. And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he's got 12 to 15 guys that show up every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in the evening. just as an open round table, sitting there with either a mentor or just somebody that's sitting there to help listen.
Yeah.
And it's a crazy experience being a part of that. Like I've been to 2 of them, and it's super humbling because you think that your mindset at first would be like everybody that goes to that is like broke, living on the edge, doesn't have any money, doesn't have any family, and like
No.
it's crazy the exposure it gives you to like the different levels of people that are in that group. Like, we've had, there was a guy that was there that night that he's a multimillionaire. He's going through a divorce, only sees his kids a couple days every month, and that guy's going through the exact same thing that somebody that like is literally living on the brink with no food, no kids, but they're both living the same thing in their head right now.
Yeah.
And just being a part of that group, like those guys come back like nobody's nobody in that group. You know what I mean? And having that ability is it's crazy. It's really is changing people.
And every experience is relative to that person, that individual. They're feeling it. They're in their feels.
Yeah. So as a group, like we are 100% what Capillary Wave is doing, and they're growing like crazy. Like they literally just took over another room for a therapist room because he's also offering. He's got therapists that have signed up to offer free therapy for people that can't afford it.
Yeah.
And then,
I have an office that I can certainly donate some time to.
Yeah, we'll chat about it for sure.
Absolutely. If you're growing.
Yeah, so
he's
doing big things. We're gonna have him on the show, but like men's mental health, like Chris says, and like you said, like it's a big deal, and nobody up until maybe 2 years ago, like nobody really wanted to talk about it or admit that there was a thing, and now it's okay for guys to say, hey, like I'm going through some shit.
Neat. Could you imagine a world where you had to be a tough guy when you're not feeling like a tough guy?
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense. And our generation's a little easier. Like I feel bad for the baby boomers, like my dad. Like that's not allowed
for sure.
You know what I mean? Like it's
not allowed, and the wife's support of that is like they're supposed to be like they're normally like, hey, like you're supposed to be the tough guy.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be this. You can't be going through shit. Like you're not really going through shit. Like you'll be you're good.
Yeah,
you'll carry us.
Man up.
So yeah, so like that's been like the biggest curve that I've seen in the last 2 years in society is that like women are realizing that like, hey, you guys are dealing with a lot, and there for sure there's a lot of abuse like from male partners and stuff like that, but like there's a reason that stuff is happening in a sense, and like there needs to be a male support system. So a ton of females have started getting behind the last 2 years, men's mental health, and that's been one of the bigger stepping stones, I believe. Wow. Truly.
Education stops at what, 18, 19 years old? I guess 21 if you go to university.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot more growing up to do.
Yeah.
I thought my parents knew everything, and then I became a parent. I'm like, oh, you were figuring it out too? Oh, I wasn't the most behaved. Okay. Yeah. You had to understand me, how to understand the best way to parent me, or the best way I would react to certain situations. Like for me, I'm a logical guy. No, you're bad. Some people can't say no, you're bad too. You have to like, well,
yeah,
this is why we don't do this, and you have to like approach it from a different way, right? So why would mental health be any different?
So curious, with you going through what you ended up going through, how was your dad for support with that, or were you able to go to your dad for support with that, or like how did that relationship work?
Good question.
Or did you keep it completely separate and you kept?
I can tell you. So my dad wears his heart on his sleeve, and he would be. So how do I say this in the nicest way possible? If I came to my dad with a problem, he would be the best parent in the entire world. It's tough to explain. He's not a type of guy that will go out of his way to be the best parent in the world. But if you ever needed him, he'd kill. He would literally kill someone. And again, sounds a little overbearing. I get it, but like I do think he would. Like I really do. So my point to that is I didn't reach out to him, and I look back now, and I think he actually went through a lot of this stuff. My parents were divorced. It was not a good divorce. It was a terrible divorce, and it affected both my sister and I, which I think made us better people in the long run. We learned, but nobody was there to, including me, because he's always there for me. No one was there for him to ask how he was doing. To answer your question, I didn't reach out to him. I didn't reach out to him because I didn't know it was okay to reach out to him. I didn't know where I was in life. I thought I was in a undertow, and I was the only one out there. I just went back to shore. So
Yeah.
I didn't think there was a lifeline. I didn't even know there was a lifeline. I didn't even know there's people out there that were feeling the same way as me when I was going through what I went through. That's why the compliment to what you're doing is. So I didn't reach out to him. Truth is, if I had to have, and in hindsight, I should have, because I think we probably would have had a tighter relationship, because there is definitely times that he went through some stuff that.
Have you had a conversation since, like now that you've gone through it and such, and kind of been like, hey, Dad, like, I kind of get where you were years ago. I've been there, I think.
Yes and no, and thank this. I might give him a call after this fucking show now. Thanks. So we had it out when he moved to Passaic Beach, and I was not done high school. If I had to explain who I was, you ever watched American Pie? The guy that wants to get all his friends laid? That was me. So you can imagine that guy being ripped out of the high school and started a new high school for like the 11 and 12. Like I was angry with him, right? But he did it for his own financial reasons and stuff like that, which I honestly understand now, and I wouldn't change anything for the world. But he tried to open up to me just recently about it, because I think it bothered him. I think to this day it bothered him, because it definitely changed our relationship.
He knew it hurt you.
Yeah, it for sure. And thanks, Jamie, but I might have shrugged it off and said, no, I'm good, thanks. Like I'm happy with who I am, and happy with my life, happy with my kids. And I meant it like, don't worry about the past. But I think he wanted to bury the hatchet on something. Okay, so now I owe him a phone call. Thanks. It's
probably gonna help him.
Shit, my dad taught me. Right? Thanks. Yeah.
Like you're his guy. Like you're his outscape for that.
I think you nailed it. So out of your 12 businesses, are you a therapist? Like, just out of curiosity, is that a thing? You nailed, like, as soon as you said it, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I owe him a phone call, because he did open up to me, and we did have that chat, and I definitely shrugged it off, because I am very happy with who I am and what I've done. And if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be who I am today. So
for sure,
I didn't want to dwell or give him a hard time. I meant it in the most positive way, but I think he was trying to bury the hatchet on some things.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
You should do it, man. Yeah. Life's short.
Okay.
Especially when the doors open like that, man. I've had a few talks with my dad that were along that, because of course, like, you know, you got to remember that the way we are right now, the age we're at, the things we think, what we're trying to accomplish, our dads did the same thing. Might have looked different, moved different time, but like the same thing, right? So you can empathize a little bit. You can say like, hey man, you did that move for financial reasons, personal reasons.
And he did. I mean, looking back, he did.
So then
just imagine that bro hug you have with a buddy. And as soon as you're done that bro hug, your shoulders drop. Like imagine
with your dad,
that chat with your dad, like what you and him will both feel like when you walk away from that conversation. Like that puts you guys at next level.
I don't appreciate you calling me out here. Give me a big Dr. Jones moment. I mean, I do appreciate it, but well done on your second or third podcast. Well done.
Yeah, like our third episode, we have Dr. Phil coming on. We're actually going to teach him a few things.
Yeah. If you guys want to throw some tissues at the end of the table. Dude, but good call. Yeah. Good call. Because you know what? I kind of knew it at the time, but I was trying to keep the moment alive. Funny enough, we were fishing. And I just wanted to be positive, right? I didn't want to get into it. I think that's exactly what I wanted to get into. So, good call. Great call. This is a great show.
Okay, you're going to talk about it on the next episode.
Yeah.
Dude,
accountability.
I'm not getting in front of a camera. I already told you that.
There's no cameras here.
No cameras.
We got microphones, headphones. That's
microphone. Yeah. You name it.
We got some bourbon on the table.
Yeah, that's what's helping.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. That's the thing, man. You just never know.
I think we need to hear about this. What this car scenario is going to be like.
Want to do his?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we got to go there.
You want another fun question?
Yeah.
Just for fun?
Yeah.
Switch it up a little bit. Our second question is called Dream Car Garage. So I know you've owned a lot of toys, a lot of vehicles.
I like
the question
toys.
Is this: you're allowed 3, regardless of price, a daily, a winter beater, and an exotic or a flex. What's it going to be?
So my flexes aren't that good. I have a 71 K5 Blazer. I'll probably keep that as maybe the flex. If we're doing a everyday driver, you know me, I'm a pickup guy. We're just gonna excuse my language. We're gonna soup it up, maybe jack it up, maybe some leather interior, maybe a heated steering wheel.
You guys will top it up while you're jacking it up.
You guys are lovely. The exotic one. Okay, so here's the thing. If you throw a Lamborghini in front of me or all those, like, I can't name the name. I just know what I like. And be honest with all the old cars I've had and the fact that I can't, and I'm embarrassed to say this, I build you a house, I cannot change my brakes. So with all the old cars I've had and the can't get to the golf course, like I wouldn't mind an exotic car that works every time. So I don't know, probably something sexy. I don't know, man. I see. That's how much I don't really care about it.
It kind of shows your headspace because like a lot of people be like, "Man, I want to get a Ferrari. I want to get a Lambo. I want to get this," and you're like, "Dude,
not interested.
I want a pickup truck.
Okay,
and I want my Blazer."
I got one of the best stories
I'm a
in the
dude's
entire
dude.
world. Yeah. Okay, so I had a nice Lariat. It was nice. It had the center console. I'm currently I put it back on lease and I didn't want to pay that much, so I'm rocking one of our work trucks right now. It's the funnest truck I've ever driven, and you want to know why? So I told my kids, I go, "Hey guys, so my son and my daughter, they don't get excited about much, but they don't want anything sold. Okay, so we have some real estate. They've been there once, and I tell them it was sold. It really upsets them. So I told them we got rid of the truck. He's like, "Oh, Dad, why?" I'm like, "Well, because this one has a secret seat." And he's like, "A secret seat?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." And I had the same conversation with my daughter, funny enough, because it worked the first time. And we got into this work truck that the center console, and for all of you guys that know there's airbags, like just fuck off for a moment, okay? And I put the middle seat up, the center console, and he sat beside me, put the seatbelt on, and I'm telling you the joy that brought to my two kids. And both my kids in their own time said, "Don't ever get another vehicle that doesn't have a secret seat." And they mean it. And to this day, we can go anywhere and they just want to go in the secret seat. Yeah. It doesn't matter what. We can go do errands. We can go grocery shopping. They're racing to get in the secret seat. And it's a work truck. And I wouldn't go as far as say I'm embarrassed to drive because I'm not. But it's not. I'm not.
All you're missing is the 3 on the tree.
You
got
See,
the front.
You want to know my
seat,
dream truck? That's my dream truck.
Yeah.
3 on the tree. Maybe a 3-inch lift because my Willie's small, whatever. That's good.
Something real box.
Sight and sound audio system for sure. But yeah, no, I don't think I have the luxury one down, but I like the older cars, I like the classic cars. But just recently, work truck that I put the middle seat up, and my kids thought it was cool as beans, man.
I loved all the Harley F-150s. Like they stopped making them like 3-4 years ago.
Stop it.
They were my favorite.
Yes.
The favorite truck I ever had was my Harley F-150.
So I love that you said that. I thought to myself, so I was gonna like chill on the bills for a little bit, and I wanted to like just buy something. And I saw a Harley Edition 2006 for $15,000, and I'm like, it's in Saskatchewan. I'm like, ooh, I'd rock this. It doesn't have a secret seat, so I don't know if I can do it, but. And I was gonna be thrilled driving that for a few years just to chill out. Like this economy is terrible. I don't want the overhead.
Yeah.
And just the everyday driver. That's actually what I wanted.
Yeah.
Sold. It's sold because it is. Everyone loves that. It is my favorite too. That's my favorite. Yeah.
Curveball. What's the ugliest vehicle you've ever seen?
Oh, I like where you're going with this. If you're thinking I'm gonna say wood panel, you're wrong. I love wood panel. Something small, like a Fiesta. I like big vehicles. So Fiesta, is that even?
I don't get how
it's
the
either
Fiat.
the Fiesta.
Yeah, I can't say it right. Yeah, Fiesta.
It's a blend
Fuck
of the
them all.
two.
Yeah.
If they sound like that, I'm out.
Yeah.
Chevy Aveo, like, all those things. Like, imagine driving one of those.
No.
You run into a mosquito. You're like,
I mean, it'd be nice to drive by a gas station every now and again, but no, not for me, man. I like the bigger. I like the old, and I'm like, I want to rock
driving on the Skyway and the wind's blowing and the car.
I didn't want
takes
payments.
off.
I was excited to rock an older truck. I knew darn well it was going to be more expensive than gas, and I want it. Yeah.
Simple times. You remember do you still have that orange Mustang?
I do. 67
what is it?
Mustang.
67, right?
Yeah.
You remember the day you got that and the brakes were no good?
Can I tell everybody a funny story? You want to tell the funny story?
You go.
So, for those that know Chris Carter, he's not small.
It's kind of a big deal.
He's not a Fiesta-ro or whatever.
Yeah. Well, basically we put him into one because for those who know 67 Mustangs, they were not meant for. I think in 1967, if you were 6 foot, you were a giant.
Yeah,
you must have been, because like I'm around here. I'm gonna say 5'10", 5'9.5", but it's perfect. I don't have to move the seat, right? And you can't move those seats. This guy gets into it, and I'm like, "Oh, bro, the brakes are." He's like, "Oh, no worries, we'll take it." I'm like, "Bro, there's no brakes." He's like, "We'll ride the e-brake." He knows a little bit more. He knows a lot about cars. I don't. So we'll ride the e-brake. I'm like, "Oh, okay, you're driving. Sounds good." So he takes it to the mechanic and he pulls the e-brake to get to the location. But the best part was, if you know the Plains Road Hill from Brant to Guelph Line, that's a big hill. I'm behind him. There's no brake lights, and I'm speeding up to catch up to him. Like, it failed. They failed. But no, man, my dude here managed to get it too.
That cable held on, dude.
Oh, it was. I can smell it.
If you know that car, it has like on the dash the e-brake emergency handle.
Yeah, it's not a J-brake.
Mounted under the dash. It's not like a handbrake.
At least it's not.
So
the foot
you have to be
No,
driving it.
yes.
Yeah, you got to be like
foot pump
one of those.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
could feel the cable starting to heat up, so it was starting to stretch a little bit, and I'm like, "This is."
And just so we're clear, it
not
doesn't
safe.
have power steering when you're going. It doesn't have power steering, period.
Yeah.
So can you imagine no power steering and hold on to an e-brake? Pretty impressive stuff.
Good days.
That's why he's got
Good
the
times.
arms he's got. It.
Yeah.
Both you guys. It's
Yeah,
from
yeah.
that car ride.
Nope, I was in my truck.
The best times.
Yeah.
Okay, random question. This is about drinks because we're enjoying a beverage right now.
Yes.
If you had to only have one fun adult beverage, you could only drink one for the rest of your life. What are you drinking?
That would be an easy one. So I'm very much a people person. I'm very much a bigger the group, the better. And we might have a business idea here too, by the way. A sipper. So
What's a sipper?
well, this would be a sipper to me. So there's shots, and there's like party shots. There's no party sippers, right? So when you traditionally when you cheers and you did really, really well and you're doing well for yourself, you might get yourself a nicer, more expensive bottle. There's no in between. It's either a shot, which a lot of people do. I would recommend it some sort of a sipper. So either and I would probably be more inclined to like what my party likes the best. So I'm not a Scotch guy. I'm not a bourbon guy. I like them both, but I don't have a preference. So I'm more like what the party likes. And if I'm celebrating, it's going to be something of, and again, maybe that's just a chauvinistic thing. It's not meant to be, but it's just the quality of the drink would be the quality of the cheers, I think, to me. So
something straight up,
yeah,
decent quality,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
the crowd.
But if you want to do a business idea, we just create a sipper with a little plastic top, and then you have your celebration. Pull it off. That's if you can't do the bottle, right? I mean, shots aren't come like that, right? So
You talking about a sippy cup right now, bro? Is
I
that what
mean,
you're-
I'm
we have
down with
kids.
the
We have
sippy
kids.
cups.
You won't spill on all my radio equipment.
we call it a Burby and
Yeah.
a Burby and a rummy and
See, we got this. See, this is why you put these people together. They'll figure it out. I can throw a half-assed idea together, and we're gonna come up with a winner. As simple as that.
yeah.
So fun.
Mm.
So
Miles, can you trademark that while we're
Yeah.
we're doing this?
write that down, Miles.
Yeah.
So 2025 is around the corner.
Yes.
What are you excited about? Are you looking forward to anything?
So this new business I'm very excited about. I do think the Canadian economy, or at least I'm hopeful that the Canadian economy is going to come around. I do think that there's a void in housing. I think there's a void in affordable rentals. So I think my product would be there. I love the idea of what you guys do from a charity standpoint. So for me, I'd feel really good about creating an opportunity to have affordable renting for people. Not as generous as what you do, but like it's amazing to do something that kind of pays back a little bit, right? And you can enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
More time with the family, more memories, more special moments. I think it's important. I'll be 40 this year. I think it's important that I understand. There's a lot of times you go home and you're like, tomorrow. I'm really tired. Tomorrow. I'm really excited for the moment where I understand that every moment counts. My kids, if I stop today, my kids are 8 and 5. Do I know how they got to 8 and 5? No, I don't. And it's crazy. And when I think about it, when I sit back and think about it, it's like, wow, that's crazy. But I'll go home the odd day and be like, oh, I'm tired. And I'm half there for the story. They're like, oh, a second book. I'm like, not tonight. Daddy's tired. It's like, no. I only have you now for this age. So I think 2025, and just recently, I think I and I don't know if there's a word for this, but you know that guy in the back of your head that's like makes that decision, like, no, you're tired, and you're like, yeah, you're right, I'm tired. Fuck that guy. So 2025, I won't allow that. If my kids want to do something, and again, I won't treat them the things that make them ungrateful, but if they want that second story, if they want to, I don't know, do something that I might not be feeling. I don't want to be the one that squashes that. So that's my 2025 because of what the show is called and what the show is dedicated to. I had that intuition with myself because this year and last year was a comeback year. I had to make up and make some business back and start a new business. So I put a lot of time and effort into that, and I was able to use those excuses at home. So to answer my big 2025 is family first. The guy in the back of the head, doesn't matter if you're tired, sad, doesn't matter. Kids are first. And then healthy, energetic, passionate, good energy. It's only as good as what you're kind of putting out there, right? So I want to be at the gym every day, because I know if I go to the gym, there's 2 Saturday mornings. Friday I come home, I drink my face off, I get up and I sleep in, and my kids are up, and then I meet them at the TV. Or Friday I have a big working day. I get to sleep early. I eat healthy. I get up. I go to the gym. I'm at the gym before they get up. And then I'm up and I'm full of life for when they walk in. And I'm the life. I'm setting the pace for their Saturday morning. That is who I want to be for 2025.
With that voice in your head, I want to talk more about that.
Yeah, no problem.
That voice in your head that we all have.
I've actually just, sorry to interrupt you, realized it. I was letting that motherfucker follow me. I was
the same till like 2-3 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah. Only for the last like 6 months though. Like I've been putting a ton of time in my wife's gonna kill me because of what's gone on the last couple of weeks, because I promised her
give her a quick plug.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kate Kozub.
Kate Kozub Real Estate is gonna kill me.
Check her out, katekozub.com.
I was supposed to pull back, spend more time at home, and she was gonna go do her thing with real estate, but I fell back into the trap and started getting involved in a few things. So the last like 4 weeks have been like bonkers, and she's been a superhero.
Yeah.
But like get home at 6 o'clock, she's going to go run around, take the kids to soccer and stuff like that. So I'm at home with one of the 3 boys or 2 of the 3 boys, but my 5-year-old is like, Daddy, let's play a board game. Yeah. Can I go downstairs to get a board game? I'm like, oh man, I got to tackle a couple of emails. I got to do this. I got to do that. And after like 2 weeks of it, I like thought to myself one night, I don't know what caught it, but I was like, man, I'm being an asshole father right now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to miss this like later on. Because my 13-year-old who just started high school, like we've got a different relationship where like I cherish the moment that like when he gets home, he still comes up to me and like gives me a hug.
That's awesome.
But like I only see him for like moments because he's doing his own thing all the time. Where I'm like, my 5-year-old's begging me for those moments.
Yes,
and I'm like, so the last 2 weeks, like every day when I get home and he's like, can we color? Can we paint? Can we do this? It's like, I haven't said no once in the last 2 weeks, but I was just not thinking about it, letting that guy in the back of my head run that show. Me like, you're tired, you still got to tackle some work, you got to deal with shit. But it was like last 2 weeks I focused differently. Like Chris called last night and I was literally there with my little guy, like playing snakes and ladders, and I'm like, I'm still gonna play snakes and ladders.
Yes,
I got to grab the call quickly, but like I'm not giving this up.
Thank you for having the same come to Jesus moment with me at the same time, because thank you. That's why I guess what this podcast is about, because I didn't really talk to anybody about it, but I was able to bring it out here and be like, I just had that moment with myself. And the fact that you said it, and you have a 13-year-old, and you're telling me now a 13-year-old is like doing his own thing, so you don't even have that moment, which I only assumed. Yeah. Right? That's magical. This show's magical, man. Yeah. Chris, what were we gonna say?
And also, no, just exactly what Kozub said. Just having the awareness is such a big part of it. And I think too that, like, we watch. There's so many good creators out there right now, and there's these alpha males who are specimens. Never miss the gym, always eat clean. Have these personas, these realities that are, hyper masculine, alpha, accomplished. That's incredible. I'm stoked for them. Amazing. Yeah. But I'd say that for a lot of the guys I know, they're looking to maybe get there one day, but they also want to be a little bit better today. Yes. And maybe a little bit better by the end of the weekend. And something they can do on a grassroots right now, today level. And the thing that I know that you can do is you can be aware of the fact that that voice is talking to you and check it.
Just like
And
anxiety.
when you're
aware of
everything,
it.
just have that inner dialogue and awareness that like that voice actually doesn't call the shots. He
right.
can and will if you let him.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to look at that and like check it. And kids are the greatest example because like, you know, my girls are my everything. Like this, it's my favorite. But I'll come home sometimes thinking that work is more important.
Yeah.
And work
great
is
or good.
important.
I'm doing it because I want to give them a better life. Like it's easy to.
And it's crazy how it changes them. So like my routine normally with my like 5-year-old is like he goes to bed the earliest. So we give him like put him in the shower. He has a shower, get him out, and then we'd be like, okay, go downstairs, grab a snack, like pick something you want to have for a snack, and then put him in his room. He sits in his bed. He's got a 40-inch TV in his bedroom.
Amazing.
And he gets to watch YouTube for 5 minutes, right? That was his thing. It was like you got 5 minutes of watching YouTube videos or whatever you want to watch, and then I'm gonna read a book to you and tuck you in. But in the last 2 weeks, like that's changed a ton. We're like, give him a bath, and he's like, "Can I sit with you in your bed?" And it's like, "Yeah, no problem." So instead of watching like Monday Night Football last night, like we were watching like some Christmas movie, but it was like an adult Christmas movie, not like super adulty, but it wasn't like a cartoon.
We've been doing it.
He just wanted to be there and like watch like an adult TV show. So we put on an adult Christmas movie. He watched like 15 minutes of it, and then it was like, "Okay, it's time for you to go brush your teeth and time to go to bed." And he's like, "Okay, Daddy." So then he brushed his teeth, laid down in his bed, and like went to sleep. It was no more like
he was fulfilled.
I'm not pawning him off to the YouTube channel and be like, "Hey, like you put my kid to bed."
I know it's a podcast, but you're getting a fist bump. You're getting it. But
it was like I've been a dickhead dad for the last 3-4 months because I'm too busy focused on other shit, and like I had to change my mindset because I'm like I don't want to miss this stuff, and it's changed him because now. He's not like, I want to go watch YouTube. He's like, I want to come lay in your bed and watch a movie with you for 15
which
minutes.
is the biggest compliment. And the best part about this podcast is that someone who's listening might go, I was letting this guy dictate. And now
I'm letting an iPad put my kid to bed.
Yeah.
I'm letting YouTube put my kid to bed.
And like, again, we're first time parents. Like, I don't know they're going to grow. I mean, I do know they're going to grow, but I don't know. I'm in the moment. I don't know There's no recipe. There's no directions, right? So
for sure,
it's really awesome to collaborate with like-minded dads.
Well, and other dads too agree with everything. Other dads too might not be in business for themselves. They might be able to punch out and go home, which is the reality for a lot of guys I know. But there's always going to be that thing that's vying for your attention. You know, it's going to be your kid, but then it might also be Reels or TikToks or football or whatever. You have to make those choices, man. And I'll tell you, like, there's a balance, you know, because like your kiddo's going to bed at what time?
8:15, 8:30 for him, and then 9 o'clock for my 11-year-old, and then like 10:30, 11 o'clock for my 13-year-old.
So there, you got a perfect schedule to spend a bit of time with each of them, one-on-one time, quality time. But it's a choice, right? And it's easier some days than others, but it's that dialogue. Same thing that fights you to not go to the gym or not eat clean or not whatever, right?
Well said.
And it's just a tricky thing to and balance that shit out, but we all have it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what the answer is, but trying to get better at it.
Well, let's talk it out.
And none of us are great at it. Like none of us are great
for
at
sure.
it.
Well,
like
we're all
learning.
We're figuring it out.
My dude likes to party. Okay.
My dude has a Hawaiian shirt by nature.
He is down. It's Tuesday.
My dude has a shirt with no sleeves. By nature.
Yeah, your guy.
So you have a sleep monster in your closet too?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cheers, boys. Okay.
Yeah.
One more question. So let's talk about food. Let's talk about what your kids eat, what you feed them, what they like, what's food in your household. How do you do it all?
I can tell you 2 stories. So if there's a world where I can give them organic, I do buy into it. Is it feasible? No. Is that guy in my head telling me we'll just get a ready-made chicken tonight or Mary Brown's? Okay, yeah. Probably more times than not. I try to feed my kids protein bars. My mom's sister said no, but my wife definitely said no. No, they can't have too much protein. I'm like, I think we can make it strong. And she's like, no, have you not read your? Anyways, the point is, we try to eat
How about
healthy.
creatine? Can they have too much of that?
So, I mean, without doing the education, I want to give them all
Testosterone shots?
Yeah, I mean, growth hormones.
Evie's on a cycle right now. I don't.
So I'm just saying, I'm 5'10"
good in that
on
suit and
camera. If I had some growth hormones, I'd be 6 foot. I'd be happy, dad.
Shout out to Happy Dad.
Yeah, there it is, Happy Dad. By the way, we get Happy Dad here. I am certain we get Happy Dad here. I am so
We
certain.
love those guys. We love Nelk. Oh, tell the story without going into specifics. But what's your?
So I don't really have any relation with Nelk Boys at all. Truth be known,
Love their content.
Yeah, love their content. They stayed at my cottage. I rent my cottage, and they happen to be one of the guests at our cottage, which is pretty cool. And we have some really cool Instagram footage.
Yeah,
from
that
it.
was
That's
if they're listening, my moment of that was just organically seeing his content, and he's hyping up Muskoka, and he's like, dude, I'm on the water. I'm on. I think he was on Rosso on the day.
Yeah.
So he was on where your cottage is, and he was like doing it. And I'm like, oh, I know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that. And then next thing he's inside your cottage, and I'm like, what are the odds?
And the reason why I think we have so much in common right now, and why you guys could definitely get these guys on board, is that Happy Dads. The name of their
They want to make a difference.
100%.
Yeah.
And my cousin knows them, and my cousin is one half of Loud Luxury, which is pretty cool.
Very cool. Shout out Loud Luxury too.
Yeah, they're studs.
That's we could talk about that Toronto night too. We've had
Actually-
some good times.
actually-
that little dude's just saying right now. He's like, remember that time?
I mean,
no,
I can.
That was a Saturday morning. That
FaceTime goodnight
might have
snuggle.
slept
I was not that Saturday morning. I was not the best parent.
So those are okay if you plan them. If you plan them,
Yeah.
that's the secret.
Yeah.
But no. So I love a world where both dads get some sort of happy dads like
No,
tribute or
shout out
something like
Happy
that.
Dads.
And I think there's a world where we could probably reach out to him for sure. He's from Mississauga. He's born and raised in Mississauga.
There you go.
So
He's a good Canadian boy.
Yeah.
Well, if he's listening, reach
yeah,
out.
yeah, absolutely.
What's reach out to the podcast or reach out.
Yeah.
Love to see you.
I love it.
We'll get him back up to Muskoka.
I
Get
probably
him up to Daryl's place. He'll love that.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Oh,
love
let's
it.
get those boys renting his place again.
Yeah.
I mean-
Spend the money, bro.
I'm not in, and I want to join this time.
yeah. We do a discount rate if you let us party.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The primary suite's taken, but the rest of the cottage is
Honestly, I'll sleep on the bunk beds. I don't care.
So let's talk dads one more time. Let's talk about Michelle's side. Talk about your father-in-law. Anything from that side?
Probably one of the most incredible people in the entire world. He was so family focused; it was unbelievable. So my dad and I cannot talk for a month, and we have everything. We get everything out in one conversation. And that's just a bunch of dudes. Michelle and her dad talked every single day at the same time, and they had the same mannerisms. It was super cute. I loved it. He just recently, unfortunately, passed. But I think if we're talking about success and something to the milestone to look up to, this guy did it. Like the fact that his both he had 2 daughters. The fact that both daughters, shout out to Chris, called him every single day.
That's a dad goal for you, right there.
That's a dad goal for me.
That
right
is
there.
for me too, for sure.
That is so far a compliment. You can't ask them to. You can't put it in a schedule.
And I think that's
They
different
have to
for like
want
dad
to.
and boys versus dad and girls. Like
Maybe.
that's a big thing
Yes.
as you get older with
Yeah.
dad and girls.
Yeah, so you know what's crazy? So I was so happy that I had my boy, and don't get me wrong, I love my boy. I love him. But I just feel like I had more of a dynamic with my daughter. Maybe because she was more outgoing towards daddy, right? But either way, like you have a kid call you as an adult every single day, you won.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
You won. And you want to talk about eating, you want to ask him like what 3 cars he wants? He wants his daughters to call him every day. That was it. He wasn't, materials didn't mean a thing to him, which is incredibly special.
What's his name, Mike?
Rick McCormick.
How long ago did he pass?
Cheers. He would have,
Rick.
but almost. Well, I hate to tell you, he just over a year. But
How did the missus deal with it? If they were that close, like
So-
how has she filled that void? That must.
that's
be,
a good question, and shout out to all the moms out there that are figuring life out. I could tell you, and she might not be able to be as privy to the conversation as I was, but I remember. So he was very much on his way out for many months. He was basically being taken care of at the hospital. And the girls knew it, but it's not their MO. It's not who they are, right? They're very bright-eyed, they're just such good energy that they never really, if they took it in, they didn't take it in. Does that make sense? So when it happened, I remember I was golfing with a friend and his dad and another friend, and I got a call like, "Oh, my dad's not gonna. We're gonna let my dad off life support." So I left on the 6th hole, thinking it was going down. Well, 3 days later, I could have played that round. Just so we know, I could have played that round. I was driving like monster drives that day. Anyways,
you're kind of a big
were you shooting through 6?
Yeah. Anyways, I left right away. I'm like, all right, it's go time, right? Like, and I knew it was coming, but they didn't really lead on to it coming. And then when it finally came, it was 3:00 in the morning. And again, we all knew it because they told us. And I remember my wife, she's like picking up her phone. She's like, my dad passed. I'm like, you okay? She's like, yeah. And then went back to sleep. I'm like, oh, okay, we're okay with it. Like, oh, that's you're okay with it. Wow, it was easy. She got up, went in at her mom. I had the kids, so I couldn't go. And then I caught her like 3 days later crying. Caught her a month later crying, and I'm like, babe, is everything okay? And like, it took her a full year and then more to kind of like, and then for her it was like, we talk every day at this time. You're in my favorite, so I see your face, right? Like, so for me, like I'm like, I would have been like probably crashing, burning up into that moment, and then maybe recovering a month or two later, and even then I don't know the answer to that because my dad's not passed. But with her, it's like, are you okay? And then I can go as far as to say she's not 100% who she is to this day. And there's every now and again where she catches her, and she's very, very emotional, which I love about her. She wears her heart on her sleeve, which you can't design a better person than that, right? Like,
for sure.
But yeah, to answer your question, like, I don't think there's an answer to when you're recovered or when you feel better. And I thought, funny enough, that, oh, okay, well, she was ready for it. I guess everything's so cool. And then like 1 month later, 2 months later, 3 months later, I'm like, oh, you're not, right? Like, how do I support you? Like, I'm okay with it now. Like, but I was crashing. I left the 6th hole. Like, I was really upset that day. Right. So
did you go to the mindset that like, okay, well, if he calls her at 4:00 every day, like I'm setting my phone for 3:59, I'm calling my wife like for the next couple of days just to like.
So you're a better husband than I am.
I'm not. Trust me. Like, my wife would argue that.
It was in the morning. It was definitely in the mornings. I knew that much.
Yeah, that's a tough one, especially when he was such a big part of her support system.
Huge.
Yeah,
and
dad
they had
goals,
a different
man.
dynamic. Like I could yell and scream at my parents. I hate you. Right? They never if they fought, it was very respectful fighting. It was never. I actually respect their relationship. It was pretty wild.
My wife talks to her parents like they live 3 blocks from us, and she
Really?
talks to them 3 or 4 times a day.
Yeah, I love that.
I see my mom like once every year and a half, and I talk to her once a month.
Yes.
Other than like she's showing up tomorrow, so I've talked to her like every day for the last couple days. But like otherwise, like I have a very different relationship. I haven't talked to my dad in 7 years.
Yeah,
it's like a very different relationship. But like if one of her parents passed, there's no way I could ever fill that void. I wouldn't even try to. Like I'm not going to call her 5 times a day to try and be somebody that I can't be.
Very thoughtful you're thinking that way. That was very
like, so she's the same way as your wife was. Like and I wish I had that relationship with my parents.
Yes. I agree with you.
We just don't. You can't like if it's not organically there, it's not there. You know what I mean? You can't force that.
No, you can't.
I love her parents. Like I have the best in-laws in the world, and you're probably saying the same thing.
Yeah,
like
they're so sweet.
Like I could move into a house with them, and I'd have no problem with it.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like I'd live with them. She would be like, no, like I'm not living with my parents. And, like they live 3 blocks away, and you see them 5 times a day. Anyway,
what's the difference?
Yeah,
I love it.
And Kozub, he's running the numbers, and he's like, "Well, hear me out."
Yeah. I've done it a few times. I'm like, but I'm like, if we sold our places, like I found a place up on like 3rd line up near the
we're gonna have so much land,
near the casino. Yeah, I'm like 51 acres, 5-bedroom house. Yeah, and like we could all quit our jobs.
Yes,
and her mom still does that. Her dad's retired, but her mom still does like sewing and whatever you call that stuff, like
crocheting.
No, like fixing people's clothes and
seamstress.
Seamstress. Yeah. So like she just won't stop working. Like she doesn't need to work because it's in her blood. She just won't stop working.
I appreciate that mentality.
European, and like, hey, I'm working until the day I die. Like,
wow.
So that's just who she is. So she's like, oh no, like we can never move up there because like I can't work if I move up there. I'm like, yeah, but like we could all live such an awesome life. And like,
in different world, you don't have to work.
Yeah,
but
I can fire my guns in the backyard, and we can have a bunch of toys for the kids to drive around on. You know, like,
amazing.
Yeah. Not pay the taxes.
I guess we're not allowed Trudeau talks on this one.
Or you try and keep it not political.
Don't worry, I don't want to do it. You just say guns.
Yeah, I know. We've had some good talks though, man.
Yeah.
And some of the things too, like we had another great conversation just about when, you know, dads pass and the what they leave behind, and how, you know, we even went down the rabbit hole of energy and whether or not there's life after, or whatever you want to call that next cycle. We've seen that. That's come up time and time again, man. So like with your father-in-law passing, you know, a year ago, have you ever seen him appear in strange ways, or has Michelle ever felt like he's around on something?
So between us and this podcast, I'm afraid of ghosts. So I tend to turn a blind eye, but my wife is encouraging to that stuff. She's like, talk to me. And I'm like, babe, I can't even be part of this conversation. So the truth is, I do believe in energy. I do not know what happens after you pass, but I hope it's fun. And I think if I'm going to take a page out of her story, that yeah, man, it only gets better, right? So I think part of her healing system is she's talked to him through Medium. Can't remember her name right now, but I'll throw a shout out to her later. And that has helped her. That helped her heal. So depends on who you are. I'm more of a out of sight, out of mind guy, and he's more of like I need more answers and stuff like that. So it depends on who you are, but he's got great energy. He's a great human being. Like if you want to, the definition of success is your family loving you. Simple as that. So he accomplished that. So he's my role model for that. And as far as I'm concerned, she has healed because she's been able to continue that relationship with him. I don't understand it, but that's not on me. That's not for me to understand it. I would love to understand it. I'm going to try and understand it. Trust me, I am. But
well, you're hoping your daughter's going to have the same thing with you, and she's going to be calling you 4 o'clock every day.
Buddy, I want this.
Yeah,
I want this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't even use calendars, but I might even put it in her calendar.
Yeah.
When she gets one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best, man.
Yeah.
What else do you want to talk about, man? Anything else? So we talked about 2025 and looking ahead and forecast. What if there's somebody listening to this? They're a young man. They're just about to be a dad. Young, like let's say early 20s or something like that. So if you're having a conversation with a guy who's in his early 20s,
yeah,
what are you going to tell him about life? What are you going to tell him about being a dad?
This is an easy one. I think when you grow up, when you're a kid, you just assume your parents know everything and know what to do. So I think it's very important. I think I took that on for the first 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 5 years. Maybe now every night I have to remind myself. But it doesn't come with a college course. It doesn't come with a high school education. It doesn't come with anything. You got to figure this shit out. I mean, you have a 13-year-old. Do you have your 5-year-old figured out now? Like, did you have to go through that?
No, like
crash course to figure out like I'm the best 5-year-old parent in the world.
So different
because you have different personalities.
Yeah,
and you've got to adapt. And it's just I think they need to know that yes, you're the parent. Yes, you want to provide the best opportunity for them, but it's not. It doesn't come with a book or instructions. I think is that fair to say? Like
just be you.
Yeah. And I mean, if you have values, instill them in them, and you should.
Yeah, I often think too, like. You know, some of the young guys that have reached out to us, I always like just the fact that you're reaching out because you feel like you want to up your game.
Yeah.
You feel like you want to be ready to be a dad. That's a hell of an indicator that you're going to be a great dad.
But don't compare yourself.
No.
Yeah.
Like the best thing that a new dad could do is not compare himself to other dads. Because like everybody's in a different situation.
Yeah.
Everybody's been through a different set of ropes.
Well, you have different partners.
upbringings.
You have different personalities
For
both
sure.
in the kid and your significant other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that same mentality should be applied to every facet of your life, whether it's with your business, your finances, your physical, your like whatever. Like this is we're all on our own trip, man.
Yeah.
It's all our own journey, right? Like and that's what it is. And you know, especially for the young guys that are, you know, first time dads or whatever, I would say have conversations about it. If you're lucky, get yourself a tribe. Like find 2 or 3 guys that are the guys and just put yourself out there and talk about shit, because it's not easy, man.
Or call into these guys because they got lots of advice for you guys. I promise you that.
Well, we're hoping we can put a few guys like yourself, give a podium and then put all that shit out for free. I'm honored to be here.
This is not my cup of tea to talk, but I had a great time. I never once felt out of place, so thank you very much for that. You told me that. You did give me a bottle of bourbon, so I'm on to you.
You've been awesome, man. Everything that you've put out there, it's inspiring for people. People are going to listen to this and they're going to be inspired. They're going to want to be a better dad. They're going to want to be a better person.
Thank you.
They're going to want to appreciate their parents, their wives, their kids. So everything you said has been
not a better group of dudes that can get the best out of someone. So kudos to you guys.
Yeah. Well, lots of love for you too, man. Proud of you. You're doing a great job. It's not fucking easy.
Well, if you guys can explain that to Everett and Charlotte, I really appreciate that.
You'd be surprised. They know. Know. All right, boys. Bottle's empty. What do you think?
All right, cheers, boys. One final cheers, and
gentlemen,
we'll sign off.
Cheers.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, everybody.
Love you guys.
Take care.